Hello summoners, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're going to do a full guide on Warlock. So on every heavy attack with him you have a guaranteed bleed. It's not the strongest bleed but still has its uses, like fighting invisible woman, bleed invulnerability and stuff like this node. Also he is immune to bleed, poison, Coldsnap and Frostbite, which gives him additional utility. And this is the Canadian difficulty abomination, week 3 I believe. So let's move on to some Labyrinth of Legend action. So this is the Labyrinth Old Man Logan, and Warlock, he isn't the best character for Labyrinth or longer fights like Abyss and stuff, but he has his uses there as well. So let's talk about his armor up. So he has a permanent armor up. If it gets nullified, he will get it back after a few seconds. While this is up, here the opponent's special attacks can crit, gives him some additional sustainability. Now whenever like you see those charges, so whenever you have 20 of them, they are converted into an infection. And while infection is active, this is passive by the way, so even works against debuff immune characters. So like when that is active, the opponent is basically heal blocked. If you have him awakened, it also does some degeneration damage, and like if the opponent is regenerating, then it also drains a little bit of power over some time, over the duration of the infection, which like you can see here, it's not helping me that much here because Old Man Logan, especially in Labyrinth, because of limber, you kind of rely on baiting special attacks. So not having not being able to bait his specials is not really helping me. It's hurting me more actually, but still. So I'm going to speed up the fight right now. Again, he's not the best option for Labyrinth. So this fight did take a bunch of hits and a lot of time as well, so I don't want to make this video very long, and there are other things I want to talk about as well besides the Labyrinth fight. So this is why this is sped up. So whenever the opponent is gaining any health, he drains 5% of their current power while like they are infected. It works really well on stuff like a lance war, where the opponent have like masteries, especially willpower, because again whenever like you put a debuff on the opponent, they will start regenerating from the willpower, but because of the infection, they will actually, if you have him awakened, they will degenerate, lose power, and obviously not get any regeneration. So it really helps him in lance wars, especially with nodes like flow and stuff. Here you're going to see that like you can pretty easily have 2 infections on the opponent. That's really practical, and if you have 2 infections on, you use SP1. I think you do 50% power drain over some time. Like the power drain is related to the number of infections, also the number of infections. Depending on that, you get the regeneration from the SP3. We're going to talk about that. We're going to use our SP3 in a moment here, and he's suicide friendly character, I would say. Like for longer fights, of course, you are going to take a lot of recoil damage, because the main damage does come from the SP2s and the armor breaks it puts on the opponent. So but I want to showcase that how much utility this character has. But first let's talk about this SP3. It's a weird looking SP3, but it does give like 100% power drain and regenerates 620. Like on top of this, you also have the regeneration from the recovery mastery for each infection on the opponent, so it's a pretty decent amount of health. Here like the fight is going pretty alright. Like I made a lot of mistakes, but because of the SP3 regeneration, the armor up, Warlock is slightly tanky. He has a decent amount of sustainability to him, and like this fight will be finished in a second here. But as I was saying, he has a lot of utility because again his immunities, he has armor break. So if you're going up against characters like Emma Frost, where he also has the class advantage, or characters like Killmonger, like the armor break can come in really useful. He has bleed against matchups like Human Torch or Invisible Woman, or you know, some invulnerability nodes. He also has some really powerful synergies with other powerful characters. Like he has really good synergy with Guillotine 2099, which gives him a bunch of power whenever he is immune to bleed. Like works really well against caltrops and biohazard and nodes like that. Also with vision, whenever he's immune to any debuff, he gets that fury in the start. Not the best synergy, So here we are going up against this Diablo, this variant Diablo with aggression regeneration. So like right now we have an infection up, so like you can see there is no regen. He has 3 stacks of aggression regeneration of 4, but he is not getting any regeneration. So again, in this game we have characters who can just completely reverse healing, like Void, Captain America Infinity War, and a lot of characters with Despair Mastery if they put a lot of debuffs on the opponent. But like a really good heal block like this with some power control on the SP1, SP3 while they're healing makes him just a really versatile character and one of the best characters in the game in my opinion to have. He solves a lot of problems. This gold pool, I'm not even sure where. I think this was an Act 6 gold pool. Yeah, so like he is a really solid character, and other than this he can also be a pretty good defender. We're going to talk about defense. Like he got 90 points on defense out of 100. Do let me know if you like the champion cards. By the way, this is the second video. I already did one on Medusa, if you wanna check that out. Yeah, he is a pretty good defender as well. We're going to talk about that in a second. Against Wolverine, again he will have the infection. As soon as he gets the first infection, he will completely heal block the opponent. If my Warlock is not awakened, otherwise it would do some degeneration damage as well. And like Warlock has a really satisfying SP2, I should say. His SP1 also has shock in case you need that for some reason, but again he can do just so much in the game. This is why if you have him, you should definitely rank him up. This is a nice man, so gonna showcase some Coldsnap immunity here. The node is not suitable for Warlock. This was in an incursion run. So the node here is what's called basically we are going to take a lot of damage from hitting the opponent. It's kind of like thorns, and like ignore that part, but otherwise we are doing some really good damage. We don't have by the way, for any of this video, don't have any boost active or anything. He works really well with tech boost because again a lot of his damage comes from the SP2, and if you can chain your specials, then that increases his damage exponentially. Now we're going to talk about his defensive abilities. So he's just really annoying to fight on defense if he's awakened, because like usually it will make you change your masteries if you're fighting him in a lance war or something. Because of the willpower healing, you will always degenerate. Once you have your infection, you will also lose power and stuff. So this is the card if you want to screenshot and collect. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Subscribe to the channel and